Is it working? Is it working? Hey, it's working. Hey, we're live. All right. Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is having a wonderful evening, and thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm really excited about doing this webinar with my friend Susan. We are going to be talking about avatars and hashtags, which seem like they might not have anything to do with one another, but they actually do, and they're important for your social media and your business. So I am starting out tonight. Good evening, guys, and welcoming Susan here, Susan Giddings, who is I always forget what Susan is. Susan is a friend and a business.
It's all right. I'm going to introduce myself, Jonathan. It's not a problem here.
I'm going to kick it right over to her and get us started. I do such a good job of this, don't I?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It is wonderful. You do a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Anyway, welcome everybody. This is my portion of tonight's training, defining your ideal customer avatar. Now, just so you know, we are live streaming to 4 locations tonight. So answering questions during the live tonight is not going to be possible for you because we won't be able to see them. But we are going to have a special after party Q&A in Jonathan's Zoom room directly after the training. So please make sure you write down your questions and come join us in the Zoom room for the after party Q&A when we are done. Now, before I get started, since Jonathan did such a wonderful job introducing me, I'm going to do it again. So I'm Susan Giddings. I'm the CEO of Unicorn Culture Coaching, and I'm a business breakthrough strategist and sales coach. I've been a successful serial entrepreneur for over 30 years. And the last traditional business I had before I moved into the online space was a very successful publishing, advertising, and marketing company. And my educational background is in business administration and accounting. So I have a pretty solid background in business and marketing and in sales. And my mission and my passion is to help service-based entrepreneurs elevate their income, influence and impact, and create the business they've always wanted. Now, guys, make sure you get something to take notes with. Make sure you have closed out all your browsers so you limit the distractions so you can really focus. And let's just jump right in. So in order to be successful in any business, you have to have a well-defined ideal customer avatar. Now, just to touch on what this exactly is for those of you who may not be familiar, your customer avatar is the persona that you create that represents your ideal customer, the perfect person for your products and services. Now, the first thing I ask business owners and entrepreneurs who are struggling is describe your perfect customer avatar to me. And I am continually surprised when they can't do it, or they stumble around with it, or it's such a broad definition, it could be anybody, or even worse, they don't even know what I'm talking about. And I get a variety of reasons why they haven't done it or don't think it's that important to do. The thing is, developing and using customer avatars is a fundamental element of creating a successful marketing strategy, which of course is going to directly lead to a successful business, which is what we all want. It's what creates a foundation for targeting and lets everybody in your business understand exactly who you're striving to attract, so that when you're hiring someone to write copy or design your website or create your ad strategy, they know who they're targeting and talking to. Now, to some, a customer avatar can seem counterproductive. I mean, why? Why would you want to limit who you're selling to? It seems crazy, right? Well, first off, if you're selling to everybody, you are really selling to nobody. Your messaging is not going to have the intimate feel that's necessary to attract those customers. And I'm sure you all know a confused mind will always say no. And you're not going to talk to a corporate CEO the way you would talk to a stay-at-home mom. Their pain points, they're not the same, even if they're trying to reach the same end goal. So your customer avatar represents your very best customer. And if you don't have a good one, you're losing money. Now, because you need to be able to target with your message something specific enough to attract the right people and reject the wrong ones. And you do want to reject people. I know it doesn't sound like you would, but you would, because let's say you're running a dating service. Would you advertise to married people? No, of course not. So when you dial in your target market and you know who your best customer is, that, my friends, is when the magic happens. And magic means money, okay? You can speak more clearly to them in a sales letter or ad copy, and you can deliver them greater value with your product, which is what is going to make them want to buy from you. And this is especially good to realize if you're running ads. And if you're not now, at some point you're going to be. And it's imperative that you have a clear customer avatar in mind. You know, when time and money is involved, you have to give your ads every opportunity to perform at their optimum. And understanding everything about your ideal customer is going to allow you to target them precisely, hone your creative, and write your copy effectively. Now, I know from speaking to so many entrepreneurs that everybody is afraid they're going to miss out on clients and customers if they niche down and get super specific. So let's go over some statistics and numbers that are going to help you get over this fear. And so you can understand the power of niching down and how this also increases your visibility and your profitability. Because there are 60 million active business pages on Facebook, 60 million. And 1.4 billion people use Facebook groups. And there are 2.41 billion monthly active users. That's a lot of people. Now, what these numbers tell you is that it's important to incorporate Facebook into your marketing strategy. There really is no other platform that offers this kind of reach to you. And Facebook use is prominent among high-income earners. 75% of them use Facebook. And that even surpasses LinkedIn, which reaches just 49% of users, making more than $75,000. And YouTube is the only social media platform with more reach at about 83% of high-income earners. So this tells you that this is a great platform, but it also, look at those numbers. They're huge. They're huge, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. So let's do some math. Let's say you're going to focus on 100,000 people, which after those numbers seems really small, but still is a really big number, okay? So if you tried to serve half of them over 5 years, that's 10,000 people a year. That works out to about 833 people a month. It's not a feasible number. If you tried to serve a quarter of them over that 5 years, that's 416 people a month. Still not feasible. You can't serve them like that. So 1% of that 100,000 over 5 years, that's 200 people a year, 16 people a month. Now, if you're a coach, consultant, some kind of service provider like that, that's a good number. I mean, you could go a little higher, but that just shows you 1% of that, what that means to you. If you drop down to 0.5%, which is about 8 clients a month, or 24 people in a 3-month program, okay? So 24 people in a 3-month program gives you 96 people a year. If you charge $997 for that program, those 96 people would make you close to $100,000. Look how tiny those numbers are, okay? So we went from millions and billions to 100,000 down to just hundreds, okay? So the more laser focused you are on who your audience is, the better and clearer and more personal that message can become. It's so much easier to get them as customers. Now, this is not going to lower your income. We just showed you that. Instead, it's going to do just the opposite. You're going to actually get more traffic and convert more people quicker and easier and actually make more money. You just have to do the numbers. That is what always speaks the truth. And you can't work with or sell to everyone. Nobody has that capacity. So this fear of dialing down so deep, you need to get over it. A well-defined avatar is your secret weapon. It's going to ensure that your marketing has a much higher chance of success. Let's face it, you can't sell to 2.4 billion people, so stop trying to. Now, before we go over some of the details you need to know to create your perfect customer avatar, I wanted to let you know that I've made available to you my very extensive customer avatar workbook that will not only help you walk through the step-by-step process you need to get laser focused on who your perfect customer avatar is, but also includes tips on crafting content for your avatar and how to find them. And I'm going to tell you right now, defining your perfect avatar is not something you're going to do in an hour. It takes time, and it takes thought, and it takes effort. But the workbook will guide you every step of the way. So if you're interested in purchasing it, I know Jonathan will put the link to the workbook in the chat for you. So as I said earlier, what I usually find is that people have a general idea of who their avatar is, like whether they're a man or a woman, or if they serve both, maybe their age range and a few other details. But just saying, for example, I serve women coaches over 35 who want to create a group program, it's not enough. So those are great starting points, but the good stuff happens when you get super specific. And I'm talking right into the nitty-gritty details of their life. When you're creating your avatar, you're going to be making up a real person that you're going to be talking to with every piece of copy, every post, and every program or product you create. Because if you don't know them, how are you going to persuade them that your product or service is right for them? So now that we understand why it's so important, let's figure out some details of your customer avatar. So the first step, look on the internet and find a photo that resonates with you of who you believe your perfect client is. And then you're going to use that visual when you are defining your avatar and when you're creating your content and your programs. Now I'm going to repeat this because it is very important. You're going to look at and speak to that person with every piece of copy you write, every post you post, and every program or product you create. They are going to be a living, breathing person to you. Now, when you're defining your perfect avatar, you need to answer lots of questions about your customers so that you understand them. Who is this person and what is their story? So you're going to start with the basics, their name, their marital status, where they live. Do they have kids? Did they go to college? What's their income? Their profession. You need to know all those things. Now, once you've figured that out, now you can move on to the little details that really make up who they are. Their hobbies, their likes, their dislikes, where they shop, what are their favorite brands. You're also going to need to know how they consume their information. What social platforms are they on? And what goals do they have? Because by the time you finish this, you should be able to tell me whether your ideal customer prefers Facebook or Instagram, if they read blog posts, and even what they like to do on a Saturday night for fun. For example, a 45-year-old father with 2 kids, he's probably going to prefer spending time with the family on evenings and weekends, right? But a single mid-20s woman, she's probably going to prefer socializing with her friends. How they spend their spare time is important because it tells you what's important to them, and that's very important to you. You've got to get that deep so that you can use this information in your marketing to speak directly to them. So next thing you need to do is get into the serious issues that your ideal customer has. You need to think about all their goals, challenges, and pain points. What problem or problems do they have that needs to be solved? What is standing in the way of them accomplishing it? What are they struggling with? What is keeping them up at night? You need to even try to figure out, what are they secretly afraid of? And then what's going to happen if they don't solve those problems? And how is that going to make them feel? You need to include all the personal, professional, and financial consequences that could happen. You need to create this whole story about what's going on with them. Now, once you're done with that, you can move on to finding out all the good things that will happen if they solve their problems. So does this mean they're going to have better relationships? Or maybe it's less financial stress? Will they make more money? Maybe they're going to be able to get healthier, okay? How much would they pay, or what would they do for those problems to go away? And what can you do to ensure that's going to happen for them? Your program, your products, and your services need to line up with how they can solve their pain points. And you should be able to paint this picture of what their life will look like after you've helped them. You need to know this to be able to create marketing materials that will convince them to use your solutions. So when you're able to create a product or service that's specifically aimed at one person, this is what makes it personalized, targeted, and relevant. And this is what's going to resonate instantly with your ideal customer. And that's what you need. So when you're done, you will know this person inside and out. You want your message and your content to fit into their story at exactly the right time. All those details you just created for your avatar will be key whenever you're creating anything for your business. So now that you have looked at getting all the details together, let's see what that should look like when you put it into story form. So this is a very short, condensed version. You should be able to write a really long story about your avatar when you're done. But for this purpose, I'm going to go through this short version with you. So Rachel is 32 and she's a writer. She's been wanting to start a blog for months now, but she doesn't know where to start. She's a good writer, but she could really use some help on how to structure and format a blog post. Plus, she's not really sure what exactly she wants to write about most of the time. She's working part-time and earning her graduate degree online, so she's usually studying up on how she can start her blog on the weekends. Rachel lives with her boyfriend, and they both want to travel more. They hate their jobs and don't make enough money. So this is the type of story you should be able to write about your avatar, your perfect ideal client. And like I said, it should be even longer and more important and more detailed than that. You need to know what to say to get someone to take action, right? Because if they don't take action, what's the point? You want them to buy something from you, right? You're selling a product or a service. And because its relevance is at the core of marketing, the more relevant you are, the more likely someone is going to take action. So I want you to think about it this way, because we do this every day in every conversation we have if we want to get someone to do something. So for example, you want to persuade your better half to go to the movies with you, and you know they really don't want to go. So you're not going to just say, well, let's go to the movies, because you already know what answer you're going to get. What you say is, you look tired. It'll help you relax. Or maybe you're going to say, the movie has Brad Pitt in it. You know how much you like movies he's in. Because each of these responses is relevant to the person you're speaking to. And so it's more likely you're going to get the response you want back. So if you want to have a successful business, you have to be able to do this. You have to be able to narrow down your ideal customer avatar so that you can speak directly to them. So I want you to clearly understand what this means to you from a business standpoint, because your return on your investment, your lead generation, and your new customers are the direct result of having great marketing. And you can't have great marketing if you're not speaking to the right person at the right time on the right platform with the right product. Now, let me repeat this because this is so critical to your overall business success. You can't have great marketing if you're not speaking to the right person at the right time, on the right platform, with the right product. Without knowing all of that, all that's going to happen is that you're going to keep guessing. You're going to keep adjusting your campaigns. You're going to waste a ton of time and money. And no matter whether times are tough or they're good, every business needs to make sure they're efficient with their time and their money. That doesn't change. So yes, I know this is going to take effort and time on your part up front to create your perfect customer avatar. But in the long run, the results are going to be spectacular. And let's face it, there's no shortcut to success. You have to put effort in to be successful. Having that laser focus on your customer avatar is what's going to bring your audience closer, and they're going to appreciate you even more because everything you do is tailored to them. So I want to leave you with this last thought. One is better than many because if you chase two rabbits, both of them are going to escape and you're going to have none. So that concludes my portion of the training tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you gained insight into why it's worth the time and the effort to develop your perfect customer avatar. Now, if you have questions you would like answered, write them down and bring them to our live Q&A after party in Jonathan's Zoom room. I'm going to be happy to answer any questions that you have. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan for his portion of tonight's training on hashtags.
Thank you very much, Susan. I appreciate it. So the one thing that Susan said that is so important for hashtags is relevant. You want to make sure that you're always targeting the people and that the content that you're using, the hashtags that you're using are relevant. So I'm going to put my thing right up on in there and get started. So who am I? A lot of you know me, but some of you don't. I am Jonathan Howard. I'm the owner of JRH Graphics and Success on Social, and I have a real passion for helping people tell their story on social media and beyond. I've made, Cheryl Snyder, I will give you the information for the Zoom room later. It's at the end of this. I've made teaching a cornerstone of my business because I found how important it is for me to give a lot of people the information that they need to be successful on social media. And I'm familiar with social media because I usually spend about 30 to 40 hours a week on social media for myself and my clients. So that is who I am. And how do avatars really impact your hashtag strategy? So knowing your ideal avatar is so crucial to being able to use and select the right hashtags for your campaigns. But really, in order to understand this, you need to understand what the purpose of hashtags are and what the functions they really do on social media. So I always tell this story. And some people think I'm crazy, but remember back when there used to be in the library these big wooden boxes that had cards in them. And those cards actually were all the information that was inside the library and where to find those things. Hashtags are your card catalog for big social media places like Twitter and Instagram. It is how you find content. It is how content is organized on social media, especially on those two platforms. Not necessarily on Facebook. Facebook isn't really set up to kind of use the hashtags in the same way, but on Instagram and Twitter, they're topic categories. They are the way that information gets put into the right bucket so that when people are looking for that information, they know which bucket to go to. They're fantastic organizational tools when they're used correctly. And they're great tools to increase your visibility and expand your overall social audience when they're used correctly. When you use the right hashtags to target the right people, you're going to have a whole bunch of those one people. So that avatar that you've narrowed down and you've created this content that makes people go, oh my God, that's so me. You can get that person to buy your product when you use the right hashtag, when you target it based on who they are. So back to the avatar question. I started talking a little bit about it, but you can really use your hashtags to target your ideal audience. You want to make sure that you're using them in places that they would look for the answers to their questions. So say I'm a social media manager. This is a stretch, I know. I'm a social media manager and I want to connect with people who want to, create content more simply, or create content that actually engages their audience. So one thing that social media managers do when they're looking for, when they're using hashtags, and I see it all the time, and we should know better. We do things like hashtag SMM or hashtag content is king. And to our audience that we're targeting, SMM means nothing. SMM is, what the hell is that? It's a social media manager, but that's not what our clients would be looking for. Our clients are going to be looking for answers to their questions. So let's say their question is, how do I create a post that people are going to engage with? Or how do I create better posts on social media? Or how do I get more people to like my Instagram account? Using the questions as your guide, and then checking them on social media, checking to see that they exist as hashtags and they're not banned hashtags and stuff like that, is the great way to start to make sure that your content is getting in front of the people who are looking for it. So post creation, or tips for better posts, or Instagram likes, or get more Instagram likes would be better hashtags than hashtag SMM or hashtag social media manager, because that's not things that they're going to be looking for. So let's meet Lance. So this is Lance. Lance is our ideal customer avatar. Let's say he's a 20-something personal assistant. And from the work we've done in determining our ideal customer avatar, we've discovered that he uses Instagram mostly as his platform, but sometimes as a personal assistant, he'll use Facebook, but it's not his favorite. His Instagram, he usually uses Instagram to stay up to date on what services are being offered, what new services, maybe some other personal assistants are offering, and keep track of those things on social media. So he's tracking his competition on Instagram. We know that he's an all work, no play kind of guy. So when he gets home, he's not just going to go and say, okay, I'm going to go talk to my friends on Instagram or look on Facebook and see what's happening. He's going to get down to work researching his ideal clients or his what other people are doing. So knowing just those basic things, you can actually determine some hashtags that you might use for a personal assistant who's looking to see what other services personal assistants are offering. So if you want, and you can do this while I'm going through the next section, put some suggested hashtags that you might want to use in right there in comments. And I will go back to those after I hit the next section. And in the next section, I want to talk about some of the best and worst practices for hashtags. And I know we're not supposed to say things like worst, but there's good and there's bad when it comes to hashtag strategies. I'm going to give you some of the good, and I'm going to hope that you guys don't do some of the bad. So some good things. I wonder what this training is about. Know your ideal client avatar inside and out. You need to know what they're using social media for so that you can actually target them and figure out what they're using, what platforms. You need to know what platform they're using before you put out a campaign that focuses on Twitter and Facebook when that's not where your ideal client is. So make sure you know where your ideal client is and know who they are and what they're using social media for. Next, utilize community-based hashtags. And community-based hashtags are ones that indicate a specific niche. So say I'm a New York baker. I'm going to use hashtags that say maybe New York baker or croissants from New York or best baked New York bagels. Stuff like that is going to target a much narrower audience than bagels. Because you put down bagels and you're going to get everybody. And those people aren't going to necessarily be engaging with your business. So create content-specific hashtag lists. Using the New York baker idea, I'm a New York baker and I post about croissants, muffins, and bagels. Instead of using a hashtag list for all of those, you want to create a specific hashtag list for your croissants, anytime you're posting about croissants, anytime you're posting about muffins, and anytime you're posting about bagels. And you want to do research for each one of those verticals, because the hashtags that are used for New York bagels is going to be very different than the hashtags that are used for croissants. So it's really important to create those verticals for all types of your content. For me, I create hashtags based on the types of services I offer, the types of photographs I post, as well as the small kind of changes that I make to my captions, and then I combine those and post those as one list of hashtags. Research the hashtags you are using on the platform in which you're using them on. And this is one of my things, and people think I'm crazy, but here's why. There's a lot of great apps out there, but they're not giving you the best information. The best information is on Instagram when you're using Instagram for your hashtags. And you know why? Because on Instagram, you see exactly what hashtags are being used right now. Because as soon as I post something using a hashtag, it goes into that hashtag bucket. So say your app updates itself once a month, once every 2 weeks. The content that you're getting today may be 2 weeks old. And 2 weeks in Instagram land is like 2 years. So you're not going to be using the most up-to-date content. So when you're researching your hashtags, research them on the platform you're using. And I'm going to go through kind of a scenario of how you research them, but it's really important that you do it on the platform and you see things like, is it a banned hashtag? Because Instagram will ban hashtags. And if you post to that banned hashtag a couple times, you're going to be marked as somebody who may be spamming. And that's going to negatively impact your engagement. And we don't want that to happen. We want to positively impact our engagement using the hashtags. Review what hashtags your competition and influencers are using. So this is a great way to find out what hashtags are important, what hashtags people are using, and what hashtags are trending upward so that you can jump on those trends. Because sometimes, and a lot of times, influencers are going to be right ahead of it, and you want to be right there with them. All right, don't do these things. Don't research your hashtags and set it and forget it. I hate that. You can't set it and forget it and leave it for a year, because in a year, hashtags are completely different. Hashtags that are trending, and you see it on Twitter, hashtags that are trending change every day. So go into your hashtags, figure out what you're using, and then constantly be in the process of seeing what else is out there and updating. You don't have to update every hashtag list every day, but throughout the month, maybe update a few. And if you're using some that are really trending and trendy, make sure that you're using them and tracking them and seeing how they're doing before you continue to use them. All right. Don't use the same hashtags for every post. Like I was saying, you should have bagels, muffins, and croissants. And it's important because Instagram and Twitter now have the ability to, if you have a picture of Kim Kardashian, you can hashtag Kim Kardashian. But if your picture does not include Kim Kardashian, that hashtag is going to actually be marked as you spamming somebody by using it, because they have the ability to see if Kim Kardashian is in your photo. Use hashtags that apply to your specific photo. Don't use hashtags that apply to every photo that you use. Next, don't use hashtags with over 900,000 posts. If you are in this area where you're a small business, you're developing, and you're getting 100 likes or less on your content, that's a great number. That is a fantastic number, especially considering about 5 to 7% of our followers are seeing our content. That's a fantastic number. But when you have 100 likes and the top posts on these that are over 900,000 or 1 million or 1 billion is they're getting 700,000 likes, you're never going to get visibility from that hashtag. And I know you want to be on all the big hashtags, but you don't. And I promise you, this works. Try this plan. Don't use those hashtags that are huge, and you're going to see an increase in your engagement. Because if you use a hashtag that has 15,000 posts on it, you're going to actually be seen at least on the current post for a long amount of time, but you may be seen on the top posts for even longer. You don't have to get as many likes. You're going to stay there longer. There's not as many people posting to that hashtag. It increases the visibility that you get to your ideal client because you're going to use hashtags that appeal to your ideal client. And that means that you're going to get more people seeing your content and more people liking and following you. And that means more customers eventually. Even in the long game of social media, the quicker you get to your ideal customer, the quicker that long game happens. All right. So those are good strategies. How do you find the best hashtags? And I'm going to warn you, when you do this, you want to set a timer because you're going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. All the best hashtags kind of need to be searched for. You're looking for those niche hashtags. You're looking for that content that is really specific to what you're doing. All the rest of the hashtags, see all these balloons floating away with all those posts, all those rest of those hashtags, they're easy to find. All you do is go best content in, whatever. Best Florida. You do Florida. Hey, Florida, all these hashtags come out. Great. Are they really going to get you your audience? When you're looking for those good hashtags, you kind of go down a rabbit hole. And here's how you do it. You're going to pick one of those hashtags, one of those broad hashtags that you use. And you're going to go into Instagram or Twitter, and you're going to tap on that hashtag. And you're going to see what else is posted there. And what you're going to look for is look for your ideal type of content. Look for a picture that kind of looks like what you are doing, some content that you would want to put out. And it may not be the content that you're quite yet putting out, but it's what you really want, you're aiming for. Look for that content. You're going to tap on that when you find it. And there's going to be a bunch of things. Tap on that when you find it in that hashtag. And look and see what hashtags they use. And they may not be the niche hashtags that you're really looking for yet, but look at it and see. And then tap on that hashtag. And the first thing that you're going to do when you tap on a new hashtag as you're going down is look at it and see, does this content kind of look like what I want to be known for? And if it does, find one of those that is really looks like what you want to be posting and tap that. And again, look and see what hashtags that are being used. Now, in my hashtag researching hashtag guide, I have a ton of great worksheets for you so that you can do this, and you can do it for influencers and you can do it for your competition. So I'll share the link to that. It's a great way to kind of write things down. But if you don't get that, get a notebook and write down some of the hashtags that you find. One of the best hashtags right now for real estate agents is Escape Brooklyn. Before, they were just putting Brooklyn or upstate housing or stuff like that. But right now, it's Escape Brooklyn because people want to escape Brooklyn. They want to escape Manhattan. They want to get out of the city. Right now, it's a trending hashtag that's great for realtors to use. And they find it by going and seeing what other people are posting and seeing what's being active on the platform and seeing if that content matches what they're doing. So you kind of got to go down into that rabbit hole, set some breadcrumbs so you can find your way out, and set a timer for about an hour. Don't work on it for longer than an hour a day, because you know what? You're going to find a lot in that hour, but if you start to go past that, you're going to start to kind of get into that social media, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this, and what else are they posting, and oh my God, this is like too much. So don't do it for longer than an hour. But that is a great way to start discovering hashtags that are going to work for you and that you don't even know exist right now. Because there's a ton of hashtags out there that you don't even know exist. And then as you do that, you can target your ideal client because you've already said they want to find answers to these questions. These are things that they want to find. So I'm looking for these things. I'm going down. I'm going to go deep. I'm going to find them. Again, you're looking for those niche hashtags that have that New York or Baker or Instagram social media manager, stuff like that that specifies what they do. All right. So that is how you find them. Now, Susan talked about this, and I put the link there. Susan's hashtag customer avatar workbook is by far the best avatar workbook I have ever seen. It is available in Success on Social under the resources tab. I have the link there. When I post this, that link is live, so you can actually use that. I'm going to bring Susan back in. Hey, Susan. So this is Susan's avatar workbook. It is a great tool, and it is available on the site. And also available on the site, Success on Social. You don't need a .com, no .com needed. It's successon.social. And come on, click to the next one. The next is your complete guide to understanding and researching hashtags, available on successon.social. That is my research little handbook there, and it has a ton of worksheets for you to use. It is a great tool for you to really kind of dig into your hashtags. And last but not least, join us in the Zoom room. I was quick, right? That was not bad. It was about right. So join us in the Zoom room. It is bit.ly Zoom after session. I'm going to put that in the comments here, and I will post it as well on any of the feeds that I have right after we close this room. But that is all I have. Thank you guys very much for joining. If you have questions, please join us at this link. I'm going to be putting it right here. I'm really fast at typing. But thank you again for joining us, and I hope that we will see you at the link there. Come on, go. I know it's going to 4 or 5 places. All right, there it goes. So join us there, and we'll look for all your questions. And thank you again. If you don't have a chance to join us, thank you for coming and taking this. All right, thank you very much, and I'll see you in a little bit. We're good.